Hello, welcome back. I'm Ron Mullet. In this video, I'm going to show you how I built this magic table. Some people call it magic, but actually it's a tensegrity table. Tension and integrity, Buckminster Fuller put those two words together a long time ago for this concept. It's two complete pieces. One part is the bottom, one part is the top. They're not connected in any way other than four 1/16 inch cables. It's very strong. It'll hold itself sideways. It has some wobble to it, but that's okay. I'll show you how I built this, and the magic really happens in the bottom. So if you stick around, I'll show you how I made that magic. So grab yourself a drink, sit back, and let's have some fun. I made a mistake in the opening. The top and bottom are connected with 5 wires, not 4. The top will have a piece of glass in it, so I have to make a frame. To beef up this frame, I'm going to use spline joint on the 45-degree miters. I have a jig that I can cut 45-degree slots on both ends of the piece. I put glue in the splines and on the end grain. I leave the splines long, that way it's easier to cut them off and get a nice square corner. I also use a square that I have clamped to my table so that I have something that's 90 degrees to push these two pieces together before I clamp them. I like these clamps for 45-degree miters, especially on picture frames. They're spring-loaded and you open them with a small pair of pliers. They leave a little mark on the edge, but that's easily dealt with afterwards. After the first two corners are glued together, then I glue the last two. Clamp it up and let it set to dry. The two pieces that extend from the top and the bottom will be dovetailed into each. The pieces are so small that I can't safely run them through my dovetail jig in my router table. I'm going to clamp a couple support blocks on to make it a much safer operation. I've got the dovetails finished. These have slipped in, it's just temporarily, nothing is glued together. These are the center rails. I've made a couple stands to hold this table up like it needs to be. I've put a square on the table to make sure everything is square. And now I need to draw a center line across these two center pieces. That's where the wire will be. Now I'm just going to put this against there, lay it on there, and then just make a line right there. Then I'll take this long ruler and draw a center line there. Now I know where to drill my holes and everything to hook the wire. This is the wire I'm going to use. This is 16th inch stainless steel rope. It's very strong. As a matter of fact, I've tested it and this one strand will hold my weight. What I want to do is mount this wire inside of the board so that you don't see any of the connections. At the top, there will be an 1/8 inch hole where this wire comes out, and in the bottom, I'm going to have to make it big enough for this clamp to fit up in there. So I'm starting with an 1/8 inch drill bit where the wire comes out. I'm going to drill in this way, and then I'm also going to drill in this way so I can get a straight shot through there to start with. But this isn't long enough, so what I've done is I've taken a piece of steel rod, my Dremel tool, and just cut some notches in it just to rough it up. And what I'm hoping, since there's only 1/2 inch of wood, I can run this all the way through. So let's see if this works. This is the underside of the bottom, and this is where all the magic happens. I'll be drilling 1/8 inch hole in each corner that the wire can go through, and then I'm going to use a router and route some grooves in here to mount the tensioning attachments for each wire. This small 1/8 inch rod will keep the tensioning cable from cutting into the wood when it turns the corner. This is the adjustment assembly that I've come up with to tension the 4 outer cables. This is the underside of the top, and the wires will be attached from the bottom. To do that, I'll drill a 1/4 inch hole. I'm going to use a Forstner bit because it has a flat bottom on it, and I'm going to have to drill pretty deep. And then I'll drop this down in, drill an 1/8 inch hole, and put a pin in like the other connections. Now that all the holes are drilled and all the routing is finished for the cables, I'm going to paint it before I install any of the cables. I gave it a coat of shellac to seal the wood, and then I'm just going to finish with black paint out of a rattle can. The first cable to install is the center one. I've set the top on 4 boards to adjust the height of the overall table. Now I need to measure the distance between the 2 securing points so I can get the length of the cable. Now that I know the length of the cable needs to be 8 inches, I'll put a loop and crimp each end. Then I'll drive the pin through the side hole to secure the cable to the top and the bottom. With these secured, I now have a top and a bottom that has the structural integrity of a limp noodle. I've clamped 2 boards between the top and the bottom. That way they'll be secure so that I can run the cables from the top through the 4 holes in the bottom and attach them to the adjusting points. I have to give a shout out to a friend of mine that suggested putting those small rods beside the bottom holes to give the cable something to pivot across. So I've tightened up the tensioners, and now let's take the clamps out of it and see what happens. See if this thing will stand by itself. Good so far. Let's see. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I like that. Got a piece of glass that's going to go in the top. Now this wobble is natural. All the weight is on that one string right there. These are compressing these 2 pieces, putting tension on this. There's tension on this. And what's amazing, it's just cool. I love this little table. It works great beside an armchair to set your drink on, put it in front of a window and set a plant on. If you like this video, hit that like and subscribe button. Check out some of my other videos. I think you'll like them also. And I'll see you on my next one.